Sylvia.
Oh, I'm doing so well, Antonia. How are you this morning?
I'm awesome. Today's a nice weather. I said today let's talk about this how to sell without selling because we try not to be salesy, but then we see sales professionals being salesy. So today is a topic that I sure will entice people as to how to effectively sell without using that word sell.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting one today. I think everybody that's going to tune in is going to get a few takeaways from today's talk.
Awesome. So my main thing with selling without selling is to focus on branding because your brand is basically you. Your DNA is different from anybody else. So you are different in terms of your competitors. So when you focus on branding, and when I say branding, it could be personal branding, it could be branding for the business that you're in, obviously service that you provide would be personal branding. So you could never stop brand yourself in terms of letting people know about you, whether it be based on the content that you provide or whether it be you being on numerous platforms. So, what you have to elaborate on that?
Well, I guess for us, I think personal branding is everything, right? Because not only is it our reputation, because our reputation can also be in a way selling without selling. Because if you have a strong reputation, it's going to be word of mouth, you know?
So
Oh,
true.
I worked with Antonio. I worked with Sylvia. So when you have that credibility to yourself, when you have such a strong association with something positive, with something with your brand, I believe that you truly can sell without selling. So I think when I think about my brand, I'm like, okay, what is the clear picture that I want to paint? What is it that I'm putting out there? For me specifically, my brand, my services, I run it on LinkedIn, so a lot of it is content marketing. But obviously, big names, they don't do that. They're not just one person
Yeah.
working for themselves. So for them, it's a lot of other initiatives that they have to show to build that trust, which I think also ties back with your personal brand or with a large brand, is how do you establish that trust so that you do want people coming back to you and frequently, you
Hmm.
have so you have repeat customers, right?
Yeah.
So I think when it does come to building your brand, as much as you think you want to think about your product or service right away, I think the first things that you should be thinking about is actually you as a brand, or your product as a brand,
Hmm.
your service as a brand, your company as a brand. Like, what, when you think of X, Y, and Z, what do you think about? Do you think about, oh, reliance? Do you think about trust? Do you think about the product having quality? Or do you not associate with that? Because that means that it's not a reputable brand. Like, we've all seen when brands do something
Hmm.
and you just want to pull away from that. You don't want to buy from them again. As much as it can be a huge brand, if something bad happens, it's hard to build up your name again, you know? So I think in terms of that, having that strong brand presence and making sure that you continuously show up, you're continuously showing up and you're building that trust. And also,
Yes.
I think a key thing is maintaining the trust, because we can always chase new clients, but I think when we hurt our previous clients, I think that's even worse, because it's
Hmm.
people that we've worked with, people that have worked with us, people that, let's say, like, I'm going to use a very famous brand, iPhones, or sorry,
Yeah.
Apple, right? So, as much as it can be one person, but let's just say that that trust is broken. They release an iPhone that just has so much technical difficulties, that just does not perform as well as the prior one. I mean, obviously that's a monster name right there, but
Hmm.
that's what I mean by brand association. You need that quality. You expect that quality. And it goes back to us, it goes back to that branding yourself as a person. People still need quality from you. Just because you're working by yourself, it may be hard, but that's unfortunately what you got to do, is you got to build that trust with your audience first, and then your buyers, I guess buyers first and audience second.
And it's so true in terms of, you're speaking about your brand like Apple, for example. Um, what differentiates a brand? Because when it is you have a watch, which have no brand and it sells for 1 US, and then you have a other watch, let's say it's a Movado watch, that sells for 300 or 500 US. What is the difference? And both of them telling the same time, but just one is basically less than the other. So when you really
Mm-hmm.
think about branding, it's something that you have to build that trust and that credibility. And how you do that is in terms of service and basically how great your product works. Because the Movado watch may have a 10-year warranty, just saying, right? Compared to the other watch that have no brand, which is 1 US, that have no warranty. So despite that one have no warranty and it's cheaper, some people now, or most people may want to go with the one that have 10-year warranty because they show where they're getting value for their money. Because how many watches would you purchase? You bought the watch today 1 US, and then after 2 days after the watch conquer, then you have to buy next watch, and they keep on buying watches, and time is money, right? At the end of the day, you could
Yes,
never
yes.
get back time, but you could get back money. And knowing that one day you're supposed to be in a meeting, and when you watch your time, you get to realize that your watch not working, and then when you do check, on your phone, you realize that the meeting has already begun and you fish out of water. So it's just to show you that branding is most important, and I believe 100% that it's more on the product itself in terms of the functionality, right? And second will be the customer service. Because once your product is great and everybody loves your product, and then they're getting great customer service, and then the fortune is always in the follow up. What else? Do you have to provide? What else, a customer may want again? You have the three essentials in terms of maintaining your customer relationship and building your brand, because it's not about just getting new customers as time go by, but it's about always maintaining, nurturing your existing customers. Because out of 100% of your customers, your high ticket customers is basically 20% of that 100%, and those are the ones who will be existing buyers. So branding is most important, and that is an effective way on how to sell without selling, without using that word sell.
Exactly, yeah. I mean, I think a big factor of what you also mentioned was exclusivity, right? So
Hmm.
when you have a certain product or you're part of a specific service, it makes you a lot more exclusive to be part of
Yeah.
that, you know? Like you mentioned before, you have the dollar watch. Anybody could have the dollar watch. But then when you have that Movado watch, or in my particular case, I have my Apple watch, right?
Hmm.
I don't want to buy a Fitbit now. I don't want to buy, I forget whatever sports watches are out there on the market, but I have this, and I'm allowed to connect with my friends. I'm allowed to connect with my family members, and we do competitions. Let's just say that fitness
Yeah.
competitions, and it's that factor of exclusivity, right? So you have this component to it now. Oh, one person has it. I want to be a part of that community.
Hmm.
It is enticing once a product has a service that will, or a feature to it that you're so drawn to specifically to that. Like, you don't want to now go out and buy a regular watch because it has these really promising elements, right? So I think relating to branding, for an example, the reason why I'm for the past, I think, 10 years of my life, I've only ever bought Mac products, Apple, Mac, iPhones,
Yeah.
iWatches, AirPods, is because I value what they offer me. If something happens to my iPhone, if you have Apple Care, guess what? You can go and fix your $1,700 phone, right?
So
Or,
true.
if something happens, you can go to the shop, the Apple shop, and there's so many knowledgeable people that, it helps for that because I just from myself, I have purchased I think 6 or 7 Apple products in my life, and I'm not a new customer. I haven't been a new customer
Hmm.
since 2011. So what you mentioned, about keeping the prior customers, making your, your prior buyers already happy it's so vital, honestly. Same with the service. If you provide, whatever service may provide, if that person is happy with the end result, I'm sure that they're going to want to find some other way to work with you to,
Yeah,
maintain that relationship with you, right? So I think when you back to speaking about branding and having that enriching experience, I think that when you have that exclusivity, when somebody that has worked with you or has bought from you can just be so joyful and happy with their experience, because obviously no one would want to come back if they're unsatisfied with their experience,
so
then I
true.
think then I think you're doing something right. I think you are really doing something right there.
Yeah, and I would like to even go into storytelling, which is the best form of selling without selling, because everybody love a great story. When growing up as a child, what your mother, what your father told you was a great story for you to fall asleep. Not saying that when it is you tell a story before a customer that you will make the customer fall asleep, but it's just to show you that it was innate in us since from when it is we grown up as a child to an adult, we always want to hear a great story, but we are not selling the customer a story which is untruth. We're telling the customer a story which relates directly to them. So let's say, for example, you're selling appliances, right? And the customer now wants to find out something about a product, and they're not so intrigued to purchase this product because they did their research, because customers are skeptical, because based on past experiences with sales professionals and with other brands that they purchase. So they now want to know, well, all right, why it is that I should purchase this one when I already, had a bad experience with a similar product. Might not be the same brand, but similar in terms of category. So like say, example, the customer looking for a refrigerator, and you could be empathetic and share a success story where you was able to help your customer previously on terms of that refrigerator aspect. So you don't want to share a story where it's something like a gas stove, or it's like a microwave. You want to share a story based on that similar product and based on that similar scenario that our customer had faced. So in that way now that customer now will feel trustworthy, will be more credible in terms of your brand and you, because you represent your brand, because people buy from people and not necessarily the brand. So when you share that success story relating to that particular item, then after now you build that trust. And that is basically selling without using the word sell. You never even mention to the customer that I am trying to sell you this, but you just be empathetic on a success story that help the customer to make the appropriate buying decision.
Oh, 100%, right? I think
Yeah.
the only thing that I really want to highlight there is you have to make your story authentic, because I think a lot of people can see through, people just trying to basically be who they're not trying to be,
So
right? So
true.
I think as much as you can be inspired by another story, you can definitely say that. But you also shouldn't make up stories to fit the narrative, because that way you're ruining the trust with the buyer. So that's kind of my main view when it comes to storytelling. But I think the reason why it works so effectively in selling as well as marketing and many other areas,
Hmm.
is because it makes it relevant. It makes it more personal, right? So when it comes to storytelling, there is that one relatable character, multiple relatable characters, whether it be you or whether it's someone close by, and the client is listening and understanding, and they can put themselves in your shoes. Oh, okay, that would be me. I would benefit from that. Oh,
So true.
look, now this, especially when you mention appliances. Oh wow, like this fridge, when I'm selling my home, it could be the ticket item for me to sell my home and make my kitchen beautiful. This stove could really, really put together, as I mentioned before, the kitchen, and
Yeah.
make it feel more nicer, I guess you could say. So
Hmm.
I think when you do, have the elements of storytelling when you are selling, I think you come off as a lot more relatable. So I think that's why when we are selling without selling, you want to feel your customer's pain, right?
Yes.
Even though you may
Mm-hmm.
not necessarily have their exact pain, because we're all different, like you mentioned before too. We
Yeah.
don't live the same, we're not living the same lives. But there's also some points that we can tie into from one another. So what pain you may be feeling, okay, well, I felt something the other day like this. Oh, I was walking my dog, blah blah blah, something happened. Like there's honestly, you just have to think of a relevant way to
So true.
tie into it, and then basically make your client, or your potential prospect, understand that pain, and understand that you also feel their pain and their struggle.
Mm-hmm.
You're a person just like them. You're not, at the end of the day, you're not your name isn't salesperson. It's it's Antonio, it's Sylvia. I'm a human being at heart. And the reason why I want to maybe sell this appliance to you, sell this piece of clothing to you, sell this course, this program, this ebook to you, is because I feel your pain. And let me tell you about a time that I also felt your pain and struggle. So I hope that you can benefit from this.
Yeah.
So I think, to kind of like wrap up, I think that if you use it right, if you use storytelling right, I think you can truly sell without selling,
Mm-hmm.
because you show pain and vulnerability, and I think pain and vulnerability is actually a beautiful thing.
And Sylvia, sell me this pen with a story.
Oh my, okay. So, the other day, I was trying to write this letter, and I was just, oh my gosh, I have all these pens, all these markers, Antonio, and this letter is to my grandmother. Listen, my grandmother is in Poland. I have not seen her in 5 years. So I finally pick up this pen, and I start writing in this pen. It's smooth. The way that it writes, it's so crisp. It doesn't break, it doesn't have that line, and then all of a sudden it's blank, and then you have to drag it, and you have to, when you have to
Yeah.
scribble for a pen
Mm-hmm.
a little bit, we all know how
Yeah,
annoying
for
that
sure.
is, and then you have to continue writing, right? So I was writing to my grandmother, and honestly, this pen just made it so much easier. I was able to just write my whole letter to her. So I think the reason why this pen worked so well, as opposed to other ones, is because it was so easy to use. We've
Yes.
all been
Mm-hmm.
there when we
Mm-hmm.
have all these pens that are too thick, too thin, and especially when you're writing a letter, you don't want it to be chunky. You want it
Yeah.
to have a nice, font size to, or
Mm-hmm.
size to it. So I think that if you use this pen in your daily work, I think you're going to be really satisfied with how easy it is to use and how nicely it comes off. I mean, if I wanted to write it in a letter, or use it in a letter, right?
Yeah.
Which a letter, you want it to be very personal. You want it to, be very the letter has a certain look to it. I'm
Mm-hmm.
sure you could use it daily, in your own work, just writing notes or writing whatever you need to write. So I think that you should really give this pen a try. See it, hold it in your own hands, write in it, write in your book with it,
Mm-hmm.
and then I think you're really going to benefit from it.
Awesome. And I would say that in terms of selling a pen, I always have a notepad and a pen with me. Why is that? Because, well, this is basically I'm selling this pen. If you tell me, Sylvia, how to sell this pen, I would tell you, Sylvia, have you ever heard about the 5 second rule? I'm asking you, have you ever heard about the 5 second rule, Sylvia? The 5 second rule is when an idea come to you, you always have a notepad and a pen in front of you so that you can jot down this information, because time is money and your brain is not good, because we cannot remember things quickly as we would like it to be, and it wouldn't stay in our minds the length of time that we would like it to be. So when that information or that great idea, whether it be a quote, whether it be a business idea that come to mind, and you don't have a pen and also a notepad to write that information, you have lost out on an opportunity. So this is me selling you this pen, and I'm selling you 5 or 6 pen. Why is that? Because you have to have a pen where You are in your room, you have to have your pen in your office, you have to have your pen in your car. Because when it is that you have a pen in your room and you get the 5 second idea in your head, you write it down, okay. But how about when it is that you are driving in your car and your pen is at home and you do not have a pen in your car, and when you reach home to write down the idea, it lost in your memory. So basically, I'm selling you more than one pen.
Well, it's so funny you mentioned that because this particular pen I have 12 of. I have
Mm-hmm.
one by my nightstand. I have one in my purse. I have one by my other notebook. I have one in my car. I have
Mm-hmm.
one in my wallet for the reason of not necessarily me writing ideas down, but for me, if someone doesn't have a pen, and I've found myself in that situation many, many times where you need
Yeah.
to write something down, whether it's a form and there's
Mm-hmm.
only one pen, whether, you need to fill something. My favorite example is I'm very bad with cards and filling them out last second.
Yeah.
So whenever I'm driving on the way, la 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 la, to somebody's birthday and I have the birthday card, most of the time I'm filling out that card in my car, right? So for me, you would have sold me right there because I need my 15,000 pens everywhere I go. I need to
Yeah.
leave one right there. So yes, you definitely sold me on that experience. Although I definitely prefer to write things out in my phone and my notes.
Mm-hmm.
I'm more of an electronic person in that sense. I still, regardless, need pens everywhere I go for
For
those
sure.
reasons.
So that's a little basic idea in terms of storytelling. I would say, Sylvia, the next topic should be on storytelling, in depth, as to where we will share, stories that was able to sell customers without using the word sell. So we provide great success stories relating to that particular industry or that particular item to that customer. And going forward, content creation is the best way how to sell without selling. Like, for example, I was so
Oh,
intrigued that I'm not sure if you know about, we have this um, courier service called WebSource in our country, Trinidad and Tobago, Caribbean region. And the Christmas period tends to be where a lot of items are coming in because everybody is shopping for their loved one, for um, the children and those sorts of things. And they sent a email stating, well, seeing that it's the Christmas period right now, items will not be coming in the way that you would like it to come in. And they provide numbers, they provide tracking numbers as to how it is that you could make sure and track your packages. They give you insights as to why things are being delayed and different aircraft and all these things. And just by getting these
mm-hmm.
information, it makes you, the customer, feel very satisfied because this is something beyond their control. Because buying right now is very rampant because a lot of people are buying for their loved ones. So when you share
Of course,
information
yeah.
like that, as a customer, you feel like, here what, I really have to be in such a way that I don't have to be going at these people to find out, what's going on with my package because it's a season where everyone is purchasing. So, always
Mm-hmm.
educate, entertain, and empower your customers with sharing the knowledge that they deserve because you have to be appreciated. You have to appreciate your customers because they don't have to necessarily purchase from you.
Oh no, of course, of course. I think with the holiday season too, I think it's one of those things that kind of comes very quickly, it comes
Yeah.
abruptly, right? You
Hmm.
think it's November and for most people in the States, they're celebrating Thanksgiving. And then all of a sudden December hits and we all want our packages to come few days before the 25th, right? We want to have them wrapped up and all that stuff. And then you mentioned the company that shows very, very transparently where your package is. Exactly. I think that if we showed more transparency and build more of that buyer's trust, I think you would be able to get more customers, get more clients, right? Because you're showing exactly what the people want. I want to know where my
Correct.
packages.
Mm-hmm.
I want to know exactly on this day. Trust me, anytime I order online, I am following every single update. I'm very curious because if I'm buying something online, it's a lot different than buying something directly too, right? You walk
Mm-hmm.
into the store, you leave with that item, it's the end of the story. As opposed to you place that item in the basket, you click shipping, you purchase it, you use your credit card, debit card, and then you're waiting this waiting time. And now that it's the holiday season, right, it's very chaotic. It is
Mm-hmm.
very, very chaotic right now. So I think, tying back to what we were saying before, I think that, yeah, if you do build on that transparency and show exactly, what you're in for, I think you're more likely to retain customers that way for sure.
For sure, without a doubt. It's so intriguing, to know that sharing content and the right content will make your customers, feel satisfied as to you take the time to share this information with us. And it's all about just
Well,
giving your customers that appreciation.
exactly. Well, that's the thing. When it comes to content, that is one of the simplest things that we can do is we can post content on whatever platform you want to post, whether it's LinkedIn, whether it's TikTok, whether it's Facebook, Instagram, you can share. And the way that content works is that there's so much content that we can consume, right? So
Mm-hmm.
we can, really see what the brand is about, what the brand is sharing, what kind of content are they sharing. And like you mentioned with the storytelling before, I think it's really easy to tie into with your content. I think it's really easy to write stories and also tie it in with your product and show the success story and show how your product or service can also be that success story for you as well.
Correct. So true. And Sylvia, in closing, what are some tips that you would like to share that some people would, want to know exactly how to sell without selling on a further note?
I think one of the biggest things is that if you sell from the heart as opposed
Hmm.
to selling to meet a quota, it's completely different. Like if you're selling to meet your numbers, okay. If you're selling to help people out, you're going to approach the game a lot differently, It's not going to be a numbers game to you. I mean, at the end of the day, you do have to meet your numbers, but
Yeah,
it's going to be more so that understanding, and you're going to be able to know your customer, your audience a lot better, as opposed to being pushy and aggressive and in your face. I think that if you truly just get to know the people, also the people get to know you, you're not going to have to sell very much because you've already built that brand reputation. You've
yeah,
already built that content, the marketing, it's already there. So it makes the process so much easier.
awesome. And I would like to state that customer service, is high priority because customers want to know that they are getting that great service. When customers seeing that their service is being done from the heart, as you mentioned, they will come back again. What differentiates businesses from other businesses who selling the same product at the same price is customer service and also
Mm-hmm.
content, providing information, educating the customers, updating the customers as to what changes has been done, why it is that certain things are not be doing the same way as from before, all these things. So if we start to focus on customer service, great customer service, any business, you will see an increase in sales. And just appreciate your customer because at the end of the day, as I mentioned from before, they don't have to buy from you. Customers have the buying option more readily available, and especially they have it at the fingertip, which is basically
Mm-hmm.
technology. Everyone essentially has a smartphone. Most people have a credit card that they could make the purchase on their phone to your company site. So why they should go to other company sites? Customer service.
Oh, 100%. As somebody that's worked in customer service most of their life growing up as a teenager, that was a lot
Mhm.
of my job in a lot of different stores. If you don't, the way that, your company trains you too is what do they value? Do they value, you being pushy? Do they value you counting every single client that walks in and out of the store as a conversion? Or do they value you and putting money into you also as like
Mhm.
somebody that's like a customer service rep, right? And having that expertise to be able to be, understanding and empathetic of your customer, so I think when it does come to customer service, I think it is really important to have good customer service. It's really important to be able to talk to people, not just to talk to a
Mhm.
salesperson, to be able to understand what's going. Okay, if there is an issue with your product, what's wrong with it? What can we do
Yeah.
to fix it? It's not the end. We can salvage this relationship. Something may have happened, but it's okay. We got this. We are gonna, go in the right direction now, and it's gonna be okay, right? So I do think that customer service is something that is so extremely beneficial, and everybody in their life honestly should have worked a customer service job to
So yes.
understand and appreciate what that feels like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, Sylvia Cummings said, "Your customer is your paycheck." So true. So true.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. So if you treat your customer poorly, there goes your paycheck, unfortunately, I guess, right?
Yeah. So we
You
have
can't treat your customers poor.
mhm,
Oh,
we have a great gentleman,
yes, go ahead.
Charles Cadwell, greetings from Hong Kong. Hi, Charles. Hope you're
Oof,
having a great
so far away.
season thus far. So, Sylvia, I would also mention that you see customer service, if it's not great in terms of the company, why not hire someone to do customer service training? Yes, you might be in a difficult situation where your business not having that great customer service, but that where training and development comes in, and companies now shouldn't be afraid to spend their budget or put budget to customer service training. Training is something that should be an ongoing process. You shouldn't just train for quarter one and leave out quarter two, leave out quarter three. Each quarter they should have training, because if you want your business to grow and you want your employees to grow with your business, you need to train and develop. And companies
Yeah.
these days, they tend to shy away from that training budget. Why is that? Do you want your business to grow? Do businesses know that you have to spend in order to make money or generate money? It's basically the
Mm-hmm.
fundamentals. So when they're trying to leave out the fundamentals to do other things by trying to spend money in terms of technology and leaving out customer service, you are basically spinning top in mud. It don't make any sense. So in life, everything
No, it
is
doesn't.
basically falls back to the fundamentals, and you must have a balance in your life, your family life, your business life. Everything is a balance. Without a balance, it will basically be unequal, and when it's unequal, you will have a problem, and having a problem equals less earnings, which will be a loss in revenue. Do you like the loss? I do not like the loss. Do your business like the loss? No, I don't think they like the loss. So what's up? What's up?
Oh, no, no. Yeah, I think that if you don't invest in your own people, I think if you don't invest in, your team, it shows. It shows, and I'm not going to say that your company's going to fail, if you choose to invest in tech or marketing more than your customer service. But it's not something that, like you mentioned before, quarter one or the hiring stage, you're going to teach you and then it's done. I think that there's always new and innovative ways about how to
Always.
improve the way that you speak and communicate. And I think it's so true because, there are things that we learn in textbooks, there are things that we learn in courses, that are not soft skills. But I think soft skills, unfortunately, as much as it seems easy to communicate, I don't think everybody can communicate well. I don't think that
Yes.
everybody has the right the right skills to communicate so well. So
Mm-hmm.
I do think that, reviewing what's wrong with our customer service, what can we improve, what are we doing well in? Okay, let's continue doing what we're doing great in. Let's kind of stop doing what we're doing so poorly in, and let's work on that. Let's put in the money, let's put in, the training, to develop our team, because it's so important. If your customer service can't hear what your clients are telling you, what the problems are, then I think you have quite a big problem on your hands there.
Yeah, and I would say this, Sylvia, is that you could find that um, your customers always should be put first, right? We know this. Some customers tend to be not of great customers. They tend to lash out sometimes at employees, and the industry that you work for, they always saying put customers first, but not all customers are great customers. So
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
it's like this. You could read how many books that you want to read, but if it is that you do not have love for your customers, and in addition, your customers do not have love for you, they would not have a matchmaker. Be- Because you have to matchmake you, the sales professional, with your customer needs, and in that way, you are able to close the sale. If you do not have that match, there is no closing of sales because it have differences being done. Sometimes the sales professional is doing everything that they're supposed to do, but then the customer is giving them a hard time. And in that way now, what you have to do is just separate. Move on to our next customer.
Yes,
Don't
yes.
waste time on that one customer that could ruin your day of prospecting.
Oh, 100%. Oh my gosh. In my lifetime,
Something.
it's kind of crazy. I remember the bad apples so much more
Mm-hmm.
than I remember the good apples, which it's unfortunate, because it should be the opposite way around, right?
So
But
true.
and all of the jobs I've had, there are people you're gonna come across that are just so unpleasant, and you can
Mm-hmm.
charm them, you can use the
Could do
whole book,
anything.
the whole manual, above and beyond, and they will still write a bad review. They will still
Yes. Still.
complain. They will still be unhappy. They will still want a refund and
Mm-hmm.
more. It doesn't matter. You can literally go to the end of the world for some people, but you just can't please everybody, and that's okay. That is okay,
Yes.
because that one person is not everybody. They are
So
a
true.
very small minority that are probably unhappy with their lives, or they just, they're probably doing this to many other companies as well, or many other stores, many other people.
Mm-hmm.
So spread that negativity elsewhere, please, and thank you. But people like that, at the end of the day, you can only do so much. If you did everything in your power you can do, you can walk away and, proudly say, I did everything I could do, then great on you. You did everything well. It's not you, don't worry. Move on. There's other people, there's other prospects, there's other clients. It's not the end of the world.
Yes, definitely. And my good dear friend Ashley Lynch said that she loved this. Hi Ashley, how are you? How are you? So
Hi, Ashley.
so this conversation was great, Sylvia. I really enjoyed it. I hope the audience and those who watching on the replay, find that is very intriguing, and you could learn from it to develop, yourself going forward in terms of selling. Because let's be real, some people are skeptical about sales professionals because they had bad experiences in the past. However, take in consideration that all of us are salespeople. You sell yourself in the family life, the work environment, in the job interview. Everywhere you go, you sell yourself. So when you say you do not like to go to job interviews, but then after you sell in basically your family as to how it is that they should be cleaning the house when it is its duty. You are telling them why it is and reasons why they should clean the house when it's suitable time because a lot of dirt has piled up. And you did that effectively. So why can't you use that same energy and sell yourself in the job interview. You have to think about it. Life is a manifestation of way you direct your energy. And I will leave with that quote.
Amazing. Yes. Wise words, Antonio. Honestly, selling, if you think in your mind that it is a negative thing, then I think that's the first step that you have to take in a different
Correct.
direction. Like you mentioned, we sell ourselves every single day to other people for
Hmm.
time. Whether somebody's listening to you, it's because you have something interesting to say. You're selling your words, right? You can be selling your products from 9 to 5, but you're selling your kids on doing those chores. So I think that it's one of those skills, whether you're going to be able to sell yourself well in an interview or sell products, services online. I think it is a lifelong skill that if you invest the time into perfecting, not even perfecting, but bettering,
Yeah,
you will not regret it. You'll
so
benefit
true.
from it.
Definitely. So it was nice having you, Sylvia, and you will see us next time. Topic storytelling.
My
Awesomeness.
pleasure. Thank you, Antonio.